Hello Value investors, thank you for joining me. My name is Michael from Deep Value Returns on Seeking Alpha. Today I want to talk about Bandwidth. So Bandwidth is a stock, it's a bit like Twilio, it's in the cloud communication platform, basically communication platform as a service, and it's fallen from grace, and it's one of those investments that on the surface there's really not a lot wrong with it. It's priced at 4 times forward sales, and I believe this is just really undervalued. This is not a stock that I own, but it's something that is on my radar. And yeah, so just let's dig in here. So you can see here what's quite interesting is that in the first part of 2021, both Bandwidth and closely followed peer Twilio were very closely intertwined. You can see that in the graph that coming into February, the share prices went higher, and then into May, like all high growth stocks, into May all this sold off and then bounced from May into July. This is, if you follow many of the cloud stocks, your portfolio probably mirrors this right here. However, since July, this is something that I've been arguing for a while, since July, investors' appetite has diverged slightly. Investors have moved towards what they're viewing as really stocks that have fallen from grace unjustifiably, and investors have been quite quick to reprice higher what is a high growth name, what is a leading name in the space, what is something particular that's special. Tier 2 companies, in this case Bandwidth, have just continued to sell off irrespective of valuation. I can see this far and wide that irrespective of the potential, irrespective of the ability to generate solid cash flows, it hasn't mattered. Momentum has just been incredibly difficult to compete against. So here's the thing, right? On as reported figure, Bandwidth had in Q2 was up 57% year over year. So far, so good. But there was the inorganic acquisition that boosted a bit of that top line growth. Taking out the inorganic acquisition, as a standalone company, Bandwidth's revenue growth rate was up 22% year over year, and that's part of the problem. As we go into the later parts of 2021, you can see that the graph is pointing towards a deceleration in its revenue growth rates, and as we come up to next year's Q1, investors are going to have to come up against the 66% year over year revenue growth rates that they witnessed this year, and as you can see that the revenue growth rates are decelerating, and as it comes up against that very heavy, very tough comp next year, it's going to be difficult for Bandwidth to really materially impress investors. So as investors look and consider, okay, the best part of the growth rate has already come and gone, investors really willing to kind of take that very strong-willed buy and hold approach. It's very difficult to do in practice. In theory, these things are always easier, buy and forget. But in practice, when the multiple is compressing and going against you, it's just very difficult to take that position. Now, here's another thing that I wanted to highlight, okay? So as we go into next year, analysts following the company are expecting that the revenue growth rates will come to close to 20% CAGR. At 20% CAGR, it's really trading at it's really not putting up that sort of high growth that someone would expect from this kind of communication platform as a service. You really want to see those platform as a services stocks growing the top line without any slowing down at well north of 25%, even 30% with ease. And that's not the case here with Bandwidth. So I wanted to kind of highlight another thing. So on the surface, you can see that the free cash flow went from negative 9 million in the first half of 2020 to negative 17 million in the first half of 2021. So you can see you can see the free cash flow moving in a negative direction. That being said, if you look at the red box here in the footnotes, it says that they bought some land and they had some net movements of cash as they bought and sold some land. So this is going to be one-off in nature. If you look slightly higher up, you can see that for the first 6 months of 21, cash flow from operations was positive 9 million, and that compares to break even in the same period a year ago. So in actuality, there is a very steady progression in its ability to generate solid cash flows, but this isn't immediately apparent unless you spend a bit of time to think this one through. So, it is growing at a reasonable rate. Can it grow at 20%? Yes, I think it can. Can it grow at more than 20%? I don't think so. But does that matter? Probably not. When you're paying 4x sales, I mean, you're kind of already pricing in a lot of negativity. So, just for the sake of discussion, I put out there that Twilio's price is 17 times next year's sales. Okay, so Twilio's price is 17 times next year's sales. Bandwidth is priced at 4 times. So obviously that looks a lot cheaper on the surface. On the other side of the equation, Twilio is on a very close run rate of 3 billion in revenues, and it's growing at 30%, and it's not showing any signs of materially slowing down anytime soon. On the other side of the equation, Bandwidth is kind of struggling to get much beyond 500 million on a run rate. So that's like 1/6 of the revenue base that Twilio is working off and growing at 30%. So it's a smaller company and it's kind of fizzling out. So this is the kind of thing, when I talk to investors, I always say, when you are an investor, you don't have to go for every name that you come across, even if the valuation looks compelling. Go for the best. Go always for the leader. And if the leader is too expensive, as you may remark, Twilio is, you're not obliged to take a position. You can always be very, very selective. And that's exactly what I offer in my marketplace. That's what I talk to people about. And I say, okay, in my marketplace, I show you that you pick out for you the best names and something that is particularly attractive, something that's worthwhile investing, and that someone's done the due diligence in the background. And if you haven't got the time or inclination, or you're new to investing and you just want someone to kind of say, okay, this is 1 or 2 ideas that are worthwhile considering right now, come over to the marketplace. You're welcome to do a totally free trial. You can cancel anytime before the 14 days and you're not going to be charged anything at all. And more importantly, it's just a place for you to kind of get involved and chat to the value investment community and really bounce ideas off each other. We have a growing investment community, and hopefully you'll decide to stick around after the trial. In any case, I hope to see you soon. Bye.